current levels for the longer term?
Well, it looks attractive, Cheryl, on the charts, and in fact, the last 5-6 days, thanks into the market correction, even this stock has gone through a corrective phase from 530, 540 levels. It's come back to sub 500, which means it's completing more or less like an 8 to 10% retracement or a corrective phase. The last support or the last previous support where the stock had taken a bounce was from the 455, 460 zone. So, which means there are two important support criteria now for Chemcon. One of them is at 450, 460 levels, where the stock had started the previous rally, and the second one is where the stock is currently trading closer to 480, 490 levels. So I think keeping that in the perspective, I believe that this could be a good level where you can start buying Chemcon. And I think if the stock happens to come back to the previous major support point, which is around 450, 460, look to average it out further.
Just a point to our viewers, we are now live on YouTube. I think quite a few people have been waiting for a while. Apologies for that. We had a bit of an issue in starting the live. We're here now. Let's take a question on NBCC. Then we've got Shanmuga Sundaram who's asking about discounter. He's got 1,000 shares at levels of 56 and he's asking if he can hold for a year. On the fundamentals, since it's about a year and he should be willing at this point, I think, Vikas, to consider an extension of his timeline. What do you think are the prospects for NBCC?
Yeah, Alex, as far as NBCC is concerned, the investors bought it at close to the current market price, or maybe looking at losses of close to say 5 to 10%. But since there's a long-term point of view, I think there are better stocks in the market, and particularly in the sector which NBCC operates in. So I would recommend a sell. I think the investor should book losses and switch to some other good quality stock from the sector.
Okay, this query is coming in from Mr. Balan saying that he has 100 shares of Cipla and Glenmark Pharma, and he's also making 10% profit, over 10% profit on both of these holdings. So he wants to know, beg your pardon, whether he should continue to hold on to this or shift to some other pharma stocks or directly shift to some other sector like real estate or FMCG. Kunal, what's your take? Does it make sense for Mr. Balan to stay put in his holding with Cipla and Glenmark given that he's making profit, or should he book some profit now?
So I think if he's looking out for short-term gains, then I believe a 10% gain in Cipla and Glenmark could be good enough short-term oriented gains for the stock. And I believe that the prospects for pharma stocks over the near term at least seems to be more of sideways consolidation. So I think I don't see any major trend picking up for many of these pharma stocks, and they've gone through more of a time correction. And I believe that the time correction could continue for some more weeks or at least a couple of months, if not more, for many of these names. So I think in that aspect, I would suggest a switch from these large cap names. Now the bigger question is, where is the next round of momentum which the viewer can try and take benefit of. So I think that remains to be I still believe on the banking side, even though the last 2 days the bank Nifty has taken a bit of a drubbing as such, but I still believe that many of these banking stocks, specifically the private sector banks, are the ones which are still looking quite strong. I think the likes of SBI, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, etc. are the ones which you could be looking at for at least another 10 to 15% gain if your time frame is at least another couple of months. So if that's the kind of a strategy you are looking at, then I would suggest a switch from these pharma names towards slight risk on stocks like the banking names, specifically private sector banks.
Okay, I'm going to take this next question from Sapna. She posted yesterday as well and we were unable to take it. This is for you, Vikas. She's talking about Bajaj Consumer. What are levels of 300 and the stock is currently at around that buy price only. She's asking for advice on the fundamentals.
Yeah, Alex, although it's a good quality stock and the investors bought it at close to market price, I think one can continue to hold on to the stock. The fundamentals look good. They've got pretty popular brands across all categories, and the stock should do well in the coming quarters. So my recommendation would be to hold on to the stock.
Okay, this one is coming in from Santi saying this is on Suntech Realty, saying bought about 150 shares at the average price of 274 rupees per share. Please suggest a near-term target for Suntech Realty. Also, if you could tell her the good exit price in case the stock will fall from the current levels. Kunal, what's your advice to Santi? One, near-term target that she can look for Suntech Realty, and the other one is a good exit price in case the stock actually falls from current levels.
Points when I look at the charts for Suntech Realty, one of them is that the stock has come out of a 1 month consolidation. So it was trading in a triangular kind of a band for the last 1 month, where 300 was more or less like a pivot range for or pivot support for Suntech Realty, and the stock has just recently given a breakout. I think if I'm not wrong, today is the breakout day for Suntech Realty, where the stock has moved up to almost 330 plus levels. Now, important point to note is that what has happened on the indicators, couple of indicators on the Bollinger Band, etc., have come back into an overbought territories for Suntech Realty, which means that even if the rally lasts for another couple of days, it could be met with some sort of a profit booking onto the stock. So when you're into that kind of a territory where short-term gains, you're making short-term gains and the stock is nearing some sort of a overbought criteria or a resistance zone, it's prudent enough to try and take partial profits on every marginal rise which you get into the stock. So my suggestion is to try and take out at least partial profits on the stock at current levels, and then maybe look to book another partial profits or the entire profits if the stock happens to come back to say another 3 to 4% higher from current levels. I think both these criteria could probably indicate that the stock could probably have hit a major overbought territory, and the chance of a reversal or a correction from there could not be ruled out.
Okay, a small request to everybody tuning in on YouTube. Please kindly do not post multiple times. It becomes very hard. The anchors that you see on screen are the ones that are also looking at the chat, and it becomes really difficult for us to moderate. We've got Parul Gupta who's asking about Tata Motors, and incidentally Thomas V. George also got in touch with me directly on Twitter to ask about Tata Motors. The question really is, should they buy Tata Motors or should they hold on to Tata Motors, or should they consider something like an M&M? And we discussed this a lot, Vikas. And I think Kunal will maintain his view that you shouldn't jump into a stock that has seen such a large correction so quickly. Stock is currently trading flat as of now. What do you think the approach should be?
Yeah, Alex, as far as Tata Motors is concerned, we've seen a sharp correction in the stock over the last few days, ever since that news of chip shortage was there. And the management commentary day before yesterday was good, in the sense it gave confidence that their production would not get hampered for at least the coming quarters. So for looking at that and looking at the kind of correction which is already witnessed, and the demand which was being witnessed by Tata Motors or particularly JLR cars in Europe and China, I think one can hold on to the stock at the current levels, and even consider buying the stock at close to 300 odd levels, where it is. It's currently quoting at around 305. I think that should also be fine, but might wait for correction to say 295, 300 levels, and then it would be a good buy. And I think in the very short term also we could see an upside to say 320, 325 levels again. So I think these levels are good levels to enter into the stock, or at least it remains a hold at these levels.
This one is coming in from Padma, saying that she's bought 100 shares of Bata at a price of about 1,200 rupees per share. She wants to know whether she should continue to hold on to Bata or switch to Relaxo footwear. Vikas, I'll come to you with this question. What should Padma do? Does it make sense to stay put in Bata, or rather she should look to switch to Relaxo footwear?
Sharil, as far as leather stocks are concerned, for personal reasons I do not track them, and neither do I recommend them. So I would request you to switch this query to Kunal for his recommendation on the same.
Kunal, what's your take? What should Padma do? Stay put with Bata or look to switch to Relaxo?
So I think it's an interesting question, because when you try and compare the price performance of both of them, Relaxo would probably be looking like a stock which has outperformed Bata in the thick of the time frame as well. So last 13-14 months, for example, Bata made a low closer to 1100, and the stock made a high as well, just about 1600 or 1650 odd mark. So which means an average rally of just about 55 to 60 odd percent for Bata India at a time when the markets were going full throttle, in the last 13, 14 months. But then when you try and look at this in the span of the last 5-10 years, then Bata has done phenomenally well. I think it's been an absolute, I'd say multi-bagger as such, from those 10-year lows when the stock was just 3-digit or paltry 3 digits. From there on, the stock has given some fantastic returns. So Bata is a stock which should categorically be looked at if you have a longer term time horizon, say for the next 3 years, 5 years plus kind of a time horizon. Then it's a steady compounder. Then it tends to give you solid returns as well, and the corrections or the kind of opportunities or dips which you tend to see into this stock is a good buying opportunity or averaging opportunity. Relaxo, on the other hand, I think the stock has done reasonably well as well. But then, compared to the solidity of Bata, I don't sense that the stock can be as solid even in the tough market times as well. So I would suggest that if you're holding on to Bata and you have a time frame of at least 3 to 5 years, then I would suggest you to hold on to the stock.
Gentlemen, well, I tremendously enjoy all the points that you make about individual stocks. I think all of our viewers will want their queries answered, and they will run after us if they are not. So I request you to keep your answers a little shorter. Let's try and take as many more as we possibly can over the next 10 minutes or so. We've got a question coming in on Info Edge. Mithilesh is asking whether he should hold on to his investment, 250 shares bought at 5,400 till the Zomato IPO. And while we're at it, Vikas, I think the jury's out on Zomato. Would you say that you should subscribe to the IPO?
Yeah, first thing, you should certainly subscribe to the IPO of Zomato. And as far as Naukri or Info Edge is concerned, the stock has seen a good upside ever since the talks of Zomato getting listed was there. But I think there are lots of other companies within the fold like Policy Bazaar or Matrimony or 99acres.com, which would certainly go public in the times to come. So I would maintain a hold on Info Edge, or even keep it on radar and buy it on declines.
All right. This query is coming from Shubham Pal, and since he's asked this question in Hindi, I would request Kunal to also give his reply in Hindi. He's talking about Texmaco Rail. वो बोल रहे हैं कि कल बाय कर लिया था 41 रुपीस पर शेयर के लेवल्स पे. अभी वो पूछ रहे हैं कि टारगेट क्या होगा Texmaco Rail के लिए. So Kunal, what's your view?
तो मैं ये एडवाइस करूंगा कि होल्ड ऑन कीजिए. आई थिंक लास्ट 2 months में देयर वाज एक बढ़िया सी रैली आई है टेक्समैको रेल में. सो आई थिंक 22-24 रुपीस से वो स्टॉक ऑलमोस्ट 40-42 रुपीस के आसपास आ चुका है. सो रैली काफी बढ़िया शेप अप कर रही है टेक्समैको रेल में. इट्स अ स्टॉक, ये ऐसा स्टॉक है जो शॉर्ट टर्म की अवधि से मुझे लग रहा है करीबन 45-46 तक भी आ सकता है. तो अगर आपने थोड़े ऊंचे लेवल पे बाय किया है तो एवरेज करने की सलाह दूंगा 36-37 के आसपास. बट अगर शॉर्ट टर्म टाइम फ्रेम के हिसाब से अगर आप देख रहे हैं तो इसमें 45 या 46 का टारगेट रख सकते हैं इसमें.
Okay, I'm not going to attempt to match that lovely question that Cheryl asked in Hindi. I'm going to stick to the language that I'm most confident with. Sanjay is asking about IDFC Bank, and since Sanjay is from Kerala, he'll forgive my attempt or my reason for not speaking in Hindi. 10,000 shares bought at levels of 58. Vikas, would you say that he should hold on?
Yeah, Alex, as far as IDFC First Bank is concerned, again, he's bought it at a higher price, sitting on some losses, but I would maintain a hold on the stock. But if you were to ask me to give my preferred choice from the private sector banking space, I think ICICI Bank would remain my favorite.
All right, let's get on board with our next query, and this one is coming in from Surya Narayanan. He's saying that he wants to buy Wipro at 500. Wants to buy Wipro, I believe 500 shares of Wipro at current price for the longer term. He needs the expert advice. So Vikas, what would you say to Surya? Makes sense to buy Wipro at current market price for a longer term? He wants to buy 500 shares of Wipro.
As far as Wipro is concerned, although great company, fundamentally a good stock, and it's also done well over the last few quarters. But if I were to be given a choice, I think from among the frontline IT counters, I'll go with Infosys at the current levels. I think you should buy Infosys at the current levels from a long-term point of view.
All right, apologies for that. I think, Kunal, I might have deleted your question by mistake. Please, can you repost it? In the meanwhile, we've got a question coming in from Dikshita, who's asking about Exide. Can it be bought at current levels, or should you wait for more of a dip? Kunal, what's the view?
I would suggest an avoid on Exide. I think the stock has been an absolute drag, a big underperformer. At least on the short-term charts, it's not showing or indicating any kind of a trend pickup. The last time the stock had seen a decent rally was in the fag end of 2020, where the stock had rallied from 150 levels to 200, and that process itself took a matter of, I think, 4 or 5 months for the stock. Post that, we've not seen any major pickup of trend. From 200, the stock has just gradually gone back towards the range of 200 to 160 on the downside, and it's come back towards the middle of the pivot range. So short-term trend-wise, I would suggest an avoid because the stock doesn't seem to be getting into the thick of trend anytime soon.
This query is coming in from Mayank. He wants a view on IG Petro. He has 1,000 shares of IG Petro that he's purchased at 650 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can go on and add some more for the next 2 years. He's also saying that IG Petro has posted excellent numbers, so he wants fundamental views on this particular counter. So Vikas, what's your take on IG Petro? What should Mayank do? Make sense to add on some more and hold for the longer term?
Yeah, Sharil, I like this stock. This has been one of my favorite stocks, and I've recommended this stock quite a number of times at lower levels. This company is the largest manufacturer of phthalic anhydride, and it would be one of the world's largest. It, I think, ranks number 3 in the world when the production of phthalic anhydride comes. This product is in huge demand, and the prices have also shot through the roof over the last 2 quarters, which was adequately reflected in the current quarter's results. I think the company posted profits closer to 100 crores from a minuscule profit of around 3 crores last year, this quarter. So I remain bullish on the stock. The investor can certainly buy at the current levels or keep it on radar and use a staggered approach to be accumulating this stock. I'm bullish on the stock from a long-term point of view. I think in the next 1 year or so, we could easily see levels of 1,000 rupees on the stock.
Okay, Ramana's got a question on ITC. I think a lot of people have a different view on it. A lot of analysts remain positive. Vikas, are you one of those?
Yeah, but it's clearly disappointed. I remain bullish on the stock from a long-term point of view, but the stock does not move at all. But I think its time will also come with the similar trend we've seen with HUL and Reliance over the past few years. And once they started moving, they gave a tremendous rally. So similar could be the story with ITC, and with talks of demerger of its businesses. I think there could be significant value unlocking. So I would maintain a hold on ITC or even buy from a long-term point of view.
This query is coming in from K. Sundareswaran, saying that he's bought SBI at 238 rupees per share, about 200 shares of SBI. He would like to continue to hold it in the longer term, but what sort of a target should he look at for SBI? He wants to also know whether he should add some more of SBI at current levels or look to diversify and buy SBI cards instead. What's your take coming in on this, Kunal? The viewer already holds some shares of SBI, wants to hold it for longer term, wants a target, and also wants to know whether it makes sense to switch and buy some of SBI cards as well.
Well, I would suggest first on SBI that it's a brilliant buy, and you've bought at 338 levels. So congratulations to you for holding on to the stock. You're already sitting on, again, if I'm not wrong, close to 30% odd into the stock. I would still suggest that you continue to hold on to the stock, even though it's seen a very steady recovery and a breakout. But I believe the long-term prospects for SBI looks very attractive, and the stock could be in line for breaking even those 500 kind of barriers pretty soon. So it seems to be a stock which has come out of a 10-year resistance and 10-year breakout, and such kind of stories and such kind of breakouts, they tend to last for at least 2-3 years, if not more. So we've just completed, I think, 4-5 months of the breakout for SBI. So there's much more room to go on the upside. SBI Cards, on the other hand, I would suggest that it should be more of a buy on dips approach. The stock is still going through a corrective phase. It's been marred with a lot of negative news flow as well in the near term. So I would suggest more of a buy on dips approach for SBI Cards. if you can park with additional capital over there. But SBI, I would definitely recommend a hold.
Okay, Vishesh is asking for the long-term prospects of Biocon. He's bought at levels of 380. Vikas, what do you say about this one?
Biocon, again, fundamentally a good company. The stock has not done that well, but I think it's one of the good stocks to maintain in your portfolio. And there is a trigger in the sense they could come out with the IPO of the Biocon Biologics sooner than later, and that could be a good positive trigger. So I would maintain a hold on Biocon at the current levels.
Santosh is asking about BHEL, bought at levels of 75, large quantity, Kunal, 12,100 shares. What is the short-term view?
Looks attractive. I think yesterday, if I'm not wrong, yesterday or day before, the stock was in some sort of a news flow as well. So looks attractive. The stock coming quite strong on the short-term charts. I would suggest maybe an further averaging at current levels for a near-term target of at least 72, 74.
I'm not sure, Vikas, did you take a question on IG Petro? If not, can you please give us, or rather, wait. We've got Sagar's question on Poshak Limited. If you have a view on this, would you please be able to give us a guidance as to whether to hold for the long term? Sagar has bought 50 shares at levels of 2,900.
No, I do not closely track the stock, so would not be able to offer my comments, but the stock has really done well. It's currently quoting at 8,400. So he's sitting on handsome profits. Congrats to him.
Okay, all right. Guys, on that note, we'll have to end the query segment. But before we go, I think a couple of you were asking about names that you can buy broadly and on the fundamental basis, also stocks that you can buy on an SIP basis. So Kunal, I'm going to start with you. What stocks are looking attractive as of now?
So from the short-term charts, I would suggest to buy calls, Alex. And the first one is a stock which I've been recommending since last few days, and that's Granules. Looks extremely attractive. The stock charging up even on a time when the markets have been a bit volatile. So looks very attractive. Targets of 370 near term. Stop loss to be kept at 330. And the second stock where I'm anticipating a breakout again is a Ban M&M Finance. Now the stock has gone through a corrective phase. It's not as if that the stock is perched at higher levels. It's come back towards a lower in the support territory as well for the near term. So looks attractive. Anticipating a breakout. Indicators have already shown strength on the daily as well as on the hourly chart. So I'm expecting that the breakout could happen just about pretty soon for M&M Finance as well. Buy with a target of 177. Stop loss at 154.
Okay, we've got a few questions, like for example, Suresh is talking about a monthly SIP for the next 3 to 5 years. Because these stocks that you're going to give us in high risk and low risk, would they fit the bill, and what are they?
Yeah, they are good quality stocks. Fundamentals are pretty good, and they are mid-cap stocks. The first stock which I would like to recommend today is a real estate stock by the name of Prestige Estate, which currently trades at around 290 odd levels. It's a Bangalore-based real estate company which has done exceedingly well in the March quarter. They reported a profit of 1,351 crores versus 59 crores last year, same quarter. And they've done a deal with Blackstone whereby they got around 7,500 crores, which they're utilizing to reduce their debt. So I think it's a fundamentally good company with solid execution capability, and we are seeing some traction in real estate. The inventory levels are learned to be at 2-year lows. So I think the sector would do well, and within the sector, Prestige Estates should be bought at the current levels. So I have a target of 375 in a year's time. And the second stock which I like is from the textile space. The name of the stock is Gokuldas Export, which is fundamentally again a very good company, and with the kind of focus which the government has on textile sector, the recent PLI scheme, then the recent change in the ministry, and Mr. Piyush Goyal being made the textile minister, I remain bullish on the sector. We certainly have an advantage, and international brands are also looking at China Plus One strategy, which is pretty positive for the textile sector as a whole. So Gokuldas Exports would be my another pick with a target of 250 in the next 9 to 12 months.
Okay, I know that we missed a few queries, probably more than a few queries. I would request that you have as much patience as you have with your long-term investments with us. We will come back on Monday and try to take as many more as we possibly can. In the meanwhile, let me thank Vikas and Kunal for taking the time and for answering all the questions that you did answer today. Thank you so much as always. We're slipping into a short break. More on the other side. Do stay tuned.